I'm Ellis Martin, and this is Money Talk Radio. Join me now for a conversation with Terry Lynch, CEO of Power Nickel, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol PNPN, and in the U.S. on the OTC as PNPNF. Power Nickel is a Canadian junior exploration company focusing on developing the high-grade NISK project into Canada's first carbon-neutral nickel mine. The NISK project is located in Quebec province and is benefited by generous tax credits that cover 50% of exploration costs. A Hydro-Quebec substation across the road supplying low-carbon, inexpensive hydropower, a stable political environment with strong government and First Nation partners. It's located beside a major highway and nearby town, and there is shallow mineral depth. The NISK property comprises a significant land position with numerous high-grade intercepts. Power Nickel is focused on expanding the historical high-grade nickel-copper PGE mineralization with a series of drill programs designed to test the initial NISK discovery zone and to explore the land package for adjacent potential nickel deposits. Terry, welcome back to the program. It's nice to chat with you again today. It's just been a few weeks. Power Nickel, as far as I can see, looking at the charts, you've gone up about 24 cents in just the last couple of weeks or so, and that is really outrageous. And I think it's because you've got something there.
Yeah, Ellis, you know what? We were talking before the call. We're ugly ducklings for 10 years, and now all of a sudden we're having our swan moment. It's been, in my view, long overdue, but it's certainly nice that the market's starting to wake up to the amazing project that NISK is.
Well, you call yourself Power Nickel, Terry, and it's a great name. We like the name, but you could be Power Copper, you could be Power Gold, you could be Power Silver. I have printed out in front of me here, audience can't see it, you can't see it. I have so many drill results, so many assay results. I see 17% copper here, I see 22 grams per ton of silver, 5% over here. What's going on with this line discovery north of NISK?
It's roaring. That's what we're saying. When we changed the name, we went to this one because it's the king of the beasts. So it really is an epic discovery. We didn't really have an analog for it. And it was funny, along the path here, one of the things we've done is recruit Dr. Steve Beresford, who's one of the foremost polymetallic geological minds in the world. And when we were going through our final due diligence with him, I was explaining to him the assays that you've got, and we're going through it. And I said, look, I don't really have an analogy for you. It's not like Voisey Bay because it's got this, and it's not like this gold mine because it's got that. He said, no, I've got the analogy. And I said, oh, yeah, what is it? And he said, Norilks. Norilks is obviously, for those who don't know, it's the world's most valuable mine, and it's the only $1 trillion in situ value mine in the world. And he said, look, I'm not telling you you're going to be the next Norilks, but I said, if you were going to be the next Norilks, it would start out exactly like this. I don't know Dr. Beresford very well. Obviously, he's now working with the team because he's super excited about the project. And he said, of course, we've got to prove it up and go from here. But to be even mentioned in that paragraph is awesome. And it's because this line zone, what's most amazing about it is it's high grade copper and high-grade PGM. We get high-grade copper and we can get high-grade gold and silver. That's not uncommon. High-grade copper and high-grade PGM, this is original. I think Robert Friedland called it a duck-billed platypus. It's very unusual. And unusual in high-grade geology is awesome. Yeah, we're super excited about exploring it and continuing to deliver some great results.
I'd love to look at the core just to see what that looks like. I'm sure it's quite colorful.
It looks like a jewelry box. That's why when early in February or so, when we started to hit this stuff, we put out pictures of the core because we knew at that point this was going to be special. And we said to the public, we said, guys, look at this core. We don't have the assays, but it looks fantastic. We think it's going to be material. What more can we do as a public company? We didn't have the assays. All we could say to the audience is that this looks spectacular. It's going to be material. And of course, it turned out it was. In the long, cruel, dark winter of mining that we have been in for many years, these types of results and these types of comments don't get listened to. But assays ultimately do get listened to. And when they're spectacular like this, and obviously you start to get some response, and we're still starting on that. And like I said, I was in New York this week and people were saying, well, you've had this big move, 40 cents, and have we missed it? And I said, look, obviously you missed the 40-cent move, but you haven't missed the $4 move. And that's the more important one. And I think that's, in my mind, what's available here. And there might be a $40 move at some point. So it's got that potential, and there's very few things in life you can say that about.
Look, as of this broadcast, you're at 74 cents, which is about 54 cents Canadian. So there's still, in my opinion, and this is speculation on my part, I am biased. You're a sponsor of the program. You pay us for this exposure, but As a journalist, it looks really exciting and a lot of potential upside. You're a name dropper, Terry. Come on now. Robert Friedland, how invested is he in Power Nickel?
I started talking to him a little over a year ago through a contact of his, and he bought some stock then, and he's become a shareholder, and he's really enthused about the deposit. We're talking to him. Hopefully he'll participate again in the near future, and obviously an amazing, dynamic mine discoverer and innovator in the space. Getting somebody's attention like that is fantastic, but this deposit's attracted a lot of great people. Rob McEwen's another legend, and he's publicly already invested a significant amount in the space, and we expect to see him again in the future. And at last count, I think we had 11 billionaires in the deal, just at various stages, because we've done all this ourselves. Like, we had no broker. We've basically financed the company through just talking to people, getting the word out, and writing our own checks, etc. And obviously, it's been a very dark market for mining. It's been tough to raise capital. So it's been one-on-one conversations with people that can write checks that have kept us moving forward. And we're now starting to get traction. So now, of course, we're getting funds and all sorts of interest from people that would be able to go a lot farther. But yeah, it's been a very interesting sort of process to go through.
I know our audience here in South Florida is very keen on Power Nickel. Last time we aired a segment with you, there was a great deal of response in the market. And I think these opportunities are rare, especially in a sector that has not seen any love. So this might be the summer for Power Nickel.
Yeah, from your lips to God's ears. Is that what they say? We're ready for the summer. I feel like we've been in the nuclear winter for a time, Ellis. So yeah, it would be nice, and we're excited. We're going to get back in there drilling in just a couple of weeks after Goose Break. And I'm actually going up to the site on Monday for some meetings with First Nations, the Cree, who are our great partners up there, and just talking about how we're going to advance things and stuff. And yeah, we're super excited about the coming weeks and months ahead.
How is Power Nickel going to directly benefit the First Nations?
Yeah, I think in a number of ways. Obviously, to the extent that once we get this into a mine, there's royalties that are driven that they participate in directly. So that's a direct participation. We do a lot of our contracting work with the pre-owned drilling companies, and all of our guys stay in pre-owned hotels and eat at their restaurants, etc. And there'll be a benefits program that we'll put together in conjunction with the First Nations and then with the Cree to make this a special project for them as well. So that the whole community will win off it, and we'll be very forward thinking in how we can have the biggest impact possible on creating a better community for the Cree, so that they can keep more of their people gainfully employed close to home, that we can create a better community environment for the entire. It's going to be enough on the table for all to benefit.
I'm going to ask you another question, which I know the answer to, but for the benefit of our audience, how is Power Nickel helping the energy transition?
Obviously, probably 75-85% of our minerals that we've discovered so far are critical elements in terms of the, by definition of the U.S. and Canadian governments, of what they need for the green transition. So obviously nickel and copper, palladium, platinum, cobalt, so far, even silver. Just by directly generating those metals, it makes sense. And then we're also working with CBMR, who is a very large nickel refiner, and their biggest thing that they do is they make nickel powder. And nickel powder is the single most desirable output of nickel for the battery industry. That's what they'd rather have than MHP. I'm actually off to Korea with CVMR in 10 days to meet for the third time with the Korean Battery Metal Complex about next stages in that process.
You don't stop, do you, Terry?
You know what? It's hard to get momentum in this space, right? You've been around, you've seen how difficult it is. So when you get momentum, you got to step on the gas. So I feel like we just got to the start line. It's taken forever to get to the start line, but we're ready to go. We're going to ride this horse for a while. So we're excited about what we're doing and really passionate that we can do something special here.
Terry, I'm excited. It's always great to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining me today on South Florida's Money Talk Radio.
Thanks for having us, Ellis. Have a great day. Cheers now.
I've been speaking with Terry Lynch, CEO of Power Nickel, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol PNPN, and in the U.S. on the OTC as PNPNF. Get the complete story by going to powernickel.com. Subscribe to Money Talk Radio and the Ellis Martin Report. It's free. Go to ellismartin.com.